It's now normal to talk to our devices. There's a good chance the phone you have or your next phone already has this technology. It lets you do all sorts of things without ever touching your screen. Nuance is one of the most well-known companies making this a seamless and invisible experience. You might know them from their work on Apple Siri. They're here at the Consumer Electronics Show showing off new technologies for wristwatches, computers, and televisions. It can do anything from changing the channel to turning off the lights in your home. And it's getting better, faster, and smarter at knowing who you are. Nuance has also expanded from voice technologies to touch. It bought keyboard company Swipe 3 years ago, and since then it's managed to squeeze down that experience you used to use with your thumbs down to a finger right on your wristwatch. Like science fiction, these ideas might seem nebulous and far off, but they're here right now, and they're spreading out to other devices. So the first thing we saw was a television that you can talk to and change the channels. Watch Judge Judy. Nuance has been doing this for years, but what's new is that it can actually recognize who's talking. It's like it knows me. One example we saw is that you can pick up the remote control and actually say, I want to see my lineup, and see things that you've already looked at, things you've saved. And so if someone else comes and watches your television, it's not going to confuse it with you. Another thing we saw is a wristwatch that you can just write on with your finger. This really didn't work well, but the idea is so crazy to take something that used to be a couple inches wide and put it down into something you can use with just the tip of your finger. The third thing we saw is a computer app that's a lot like Apple Siri. You just talk into it and it's always listening. So you can just say, "Hey Dragon, what's the best Thai restaurant in Las Vegas?" You get restaurant reviews, music recommendations, and it'll just fire up apps. It's pretty amazing. It's also rolling out in new PCs with technology that's always listening. Because Nuance basically works with other companies, they've created technology that works with other products from other places. One example is Philips Hue. This is a lighting system you can use with your smartphone. What they've done is combine this with their voice technology. So you can say, turn the lights blue, turn it into party mode, turn it into study mode, and the lights will change around you. It takes that same thing that used to be on the side of your wall and puts it on your wrist. We had about an hour to play with all three of these things, and when they worked, it was amazing, and when it failed, they failed spectacularly. But the important thing is that this is the same software that's been out for a couple years, but they keep adding features that makes it more impressive, functional, and simple to use. And the amazing thing is they've taken it from these very simple devices where it seems obvious and put it in places where you wouldn't even think, like a wristwatch. Well, it's in wristwatches now, it could be somewhere completely different in just a few years.